What if I told you that even the smartest people in the world have been scammed out of millions, even billions of dollars? You might think only the gullible fall for financial scams, but history proves that even billionaires, celebrities, and top investors have been completely fooled. Today we're exposing 5 of the biggest financial scams ever, including one that stole $10 billion, a man who sold the Eiffel Tower twice, and a scam so big that an entire crypto exchange disappeared overnight. And make sure you stick around until the end, because the last scam is so shocking, it will make you question every investment opportunity you've ever heard of. Let's get started. Imagine working your whole life building up a fortune of billions, only to lose everything to a scam. That's exactly what happened to thousands of elite investors, banks, and even celebrities when they trusted Bernie Madoff. Madoff ran what is now known as the biggest Ponzi scheme in history, stealing an estimated $65 billion from investors over decades. But how did he fool so many people? First, he pretended to be a financial genius. His firm promised steady, guaranteed profits, something no real investment could do. Second, he only allowed exclusive clients into his fund. If you wanted to invest, you needed to be personally invited, making it seem even more desirable. And third, he kept paying old investors with new investors' money, making it look like his fund was making huge profits when in reality, there were no real investments at all. For years, even billionaires and hedge funds poured their money into Madoff's scam, but eventually when too many people wanted their money back, the entire scheme collapsed overnight. Madoff was sentenced to 150 years in prison, and many of his victims never got their money back. And if you think that was insane, wait until you hear about the man who sold the Eiffel Tower, not once but twice. How do you sell something you don't own? Well, Victor Lustig was a professional con artist who pulled off one of the boldest scams in history, selling the Eiffel Tower to wealthy businessmen. Twice. Here's how he did it. He forged government documents and posed as a high-ranking French official. He invited wealthy investors to a top-secret meeting, claiming the French government was planning to quietly sell the Eiffel Tower for scrap metal. He convinced a wealthy businessman to pay him a massive bribe to win the contract, and then disappeared with the money. Amazingly, his victim was so embarrassed, he never reported the crime. Realizing he could do it again, Lustig returned to Paris a few months later, and pulled off the exact same scam. But his biggest scam, he even tricked Al Capone, the infamous gangster, out of thousands of dollars, and walked away alive. Now if you think selling a national landmark is crazy, just wait until you hear about a crypto scam so big, the entire exchange vanished overnight. Imagine waking up one morning, logging into your crypto account and finding out your entire portfolio is gone. That's exactly what happened to millions of investors when FTX collapsed, one of the biggest crypto scams in history. FTX, led by Sam Bankman-Fried, was one of the most trusted crypto exchanges in the world. Celebrities, politicians, and even the biggest investors trusted their money with FTX. But behind the scenes, it was all a fraud. They secretly funneled billions of customer funds into risky investments. When people started asking for their money back, the company couldn't pay them. And in just 24 hours, the entire exchange collapsed, wiping out billions of dollars. Some victims lost their entire life savings, even major hedge funds went bankrupt overnight. And Sam Bankman-Fried? He was arrested and charged with one of the biggest financial frauds ever. But if you think scamming an entire financial system is bad, wait until you hear about the man who pretended to be a prince and walked away with millions. Some people inherit money, others steal it by pretending to be rich. That's exactly what Anthony Gignac did. For years, he posed as a Saudi prince, convincing people that he was royalty with unlimited wealth. Here's how he pulled it off. He wore designer suits, traveled in private jets, and lived in multi-million-dollar mansions. He carried fake diplomatic credentials and convinced people he had royal connections. Investors threw millions at him thinking he had access to secret high-return deals. But eventually, one investor got suspicious. His mistake? Ordering pork at a fancy restaurant. A real Saudi prince would never eat pork, and that's when people started questioning his identity. Within months, his empire collapsed, and he was arrested for scamming over $8 million from investors. But nothing compares to the final scam on this list, an investment so ridiculous, it's shocking anyone fell for it. Imagine being promised an investment that would make you rich overnight. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, that's exactly what Gerald Cotton, the founder of Quadrig ACX, promised investors. He claimed to run a top crypto exchange where people could double or triple their money. But in reality, it was all a scam. Here's where it gets weird. One day Cotton mysteriously died while on vacation in India. Suddenly, all the money disappeared. Over $250 million in crypto funds vanished and no one could access them. But was he really dead? To this day, many believe he faked his own death and escaped with millions in stolen money. And that's the final lesson. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If you thought those 5 scams were insane, wait until you hear about these other jaw-dropping cons that fooled the smartest people in the world. Ever heard of Robert Allen Stanford? He ran one of the biggest financial scams in US history, stealing over $8 billion from investors. His trick? He created a fake banking empire and promised high returns on exclusive investments. Rich investors believed they were buying into luxury properties, real estate, and high-interest savings accounts. But in reality, none of it existed. He spent the stolen money on yachts, private jets, and luxury mansions for himself, until the government finally shut him down. Lesson learned. Just because an investment looks legit doesn't mean it is. Did you know that McDonald's Monopoly game was rigged for years? In the 1990s, Jerome Jacobson figured out how to steal winning game pieces before they ever reached the public. He would sell them to fake winners and take a cut of the prize money. Over time, his scam stole more than $24 million in fake prizes. The worst part, for years, no real customer ever had a chance to win. He was finally caught in a massive FBI sting operation, but not before he conned some of the biggest brands in America. Even the wealthiest collectors can fall for scams. And no one proves that better than Glafira Rosales, a New York art dealer who sold fake masterpieces for over $80 million. She convinced buyers they were purchasing rare, undiscovered works from famous painters like Mark Rothko and Jackson Pollock. But in reality, they were painted in a garage by a struggling artist in China. For nearly 20 years, museums and billionaire collectors fell for the scam, paying millions for worthless fakes. The takeaway? If experts can be fooled, anyone can be fooled. You've probably heard the phrase, "I've got a bridge to sell you." Well, that phrase actually comes from one of the greatest con men in history, George C. Parker. Parker didn't just sell the Brooklyn Bridge once, he sold it multiple times to unsuspecting buyers. His scam was simple, but genius. He pretended to be the owner of the Brooklyn Bridge and convinced wealthy investors they could buy it and charge tolls. He even forged legal documents to make it look official. Some victims spent thousands of dollars before realizing they didn't actually own the bridge. And if that wasn't crazy enough, he didn't stop there. He also sold the Statue of Liberty, Madison Square Garden, and even Grant's tomb. Eventually he was caught and sentenced to life in prison. But his scams became so legendary that buying the Brooklyn Bridge is now a metaphor for falling for a con. So, what can we learn from these shocking scams? If someone promises guaranteed profits, it's a scam. If it's too exclusive or secretive, it's probably fake. And if you don't understand the investment, don't put your money in it. Scammers don't just target the gullible, they target everyone. Even billionaires fall for scams. If you want to stay safe, stay informed. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button, because trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching.